In a few days, we'll have the reveal of Season 2 and everything we can expect to see for content from Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. In planning the content from now until then for the upcoming days, I've realized there were a few things that kind of slipped through the cracks of coverage here on the channel that we didn't quite get to go through for multiplayer updates and some other details as far in depth as we maybe would have liked. So today we're taking a look at a few gameplay changes that could make some rather impactful and meaningful changes here to the gameplay loop and some other areas you may feel are important as well. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below on what you'd like to see either for further changes for multiplayer, Warzone, or DMZ with Season 2, or what you like or dislike about the ones we mentioned here in this video. As well, check out my friends over at GamerAdvantage for their best deal of the year so far, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's talk about some of these upcoming changes to Season 2 for Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2.0, and DMZ. Firstly, I want to expand on some multiplayer side things here, where we touched on these briefly when the overall blog was announced, a Road to Season 2 type of blog, a week or so ago here from the Call of Duty website, but we breezed over a few things because there was so much to cover in that specific blog. First up, though, are the perk updates. Now, perk packages have been a strange topic of discussion for most. I don't know if it's any sort of hot take or something off base to say that a ton of people, myself included, perhaps the majority of the community who pay attention to this kind of stuff and don't just play the game to play the game, were like, okay, well, why? When we were talking about these changes here to the perks at COD Next, we didn't get just basic perks. We instead have these sort of correlated perk packages that are on base perks and then timed perks as well. The use of a bonus perk and ultimate perk were something that were interesting, but it limited some of the perk selection until later on in the game, sort of trying to incentivize players to interact in either kills, captures, so on and so forth. Now, everyone was guaranteed to get those perks at some point because of at their base, the perks are on timers for players to be granted them. Even if you were just sitting in spawn, the game would reward you with your bonus perk at around 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game and 7 minutes into the game based off a quick little team deathmatch preliminary test. But honestly, I don't remember it being that long. In fact, there actually are some beta clips here that we tested that in Ground War is 2 minutes and 4 minutes respectively. So having not tested these since the beta and that preliminary testing here, I'm kind of thinking they either introduced some variable earn rates based off of game mode or they're just completely different. But specifics we'll touch on for the actual update, but just in theory here to give you an understanding of how these sort of things work. But that said, again, beyond that, even though the base earn rates for each of these perks are the same for everybody, when you'll actually get them isn't necessarily the same for everybody. The way the system works, there's sort of incentives for just playing the game, giving you time bonuses or time shaved off of those earn rates for each of the perks. And I think that when we tested it earlier, it was like 10 seconds per kill, 20 for objective capture, and like 5 for assists, and then like streak takedowns. But again, for the update and everything, I'll double check all that kind of stuff. But for best frame of reference, that's how it worked. Now with the update, it said we've heard a lot of feedback about the timing of bonus perks, specifically the Ghost perk. We looked at swapping the perk's position, but we felt this would create severe imbalance in the perk system. For Season 2, we've updated the rate at which the bonus and the ultimate perks are earned, reduced the bonus perk by 50% and ultimate by 25%. This adjustment will allow players to get Ghost earlier in matches, which will better support players looking to engage more aggressively. So 50 and 25% reductions are inherently pretty big chunks of time to take off of that earn rate. So you'll be getting, again, for that, say, team deathmatch test that I ended up doing, about 1 minute and 45 seconds in for your bonus and what, like 5 minutes and 15 seconds into the game at their base. But then again, you throw in on top of all the incentives here, those kill modifiers, objective modifiers, and everything, and you will start to see these perks being earned way faster. So big picture, I do think it's nice to be able to earn these a little bit quicker. I still to this day don't quite understand the need to change things up to a perk package, but I mean, I guess this is what we have. It doesn't seem like that's going to be changed. I don't think that we're going to see at any point during the year Infinity Ward just be like, all right, we're taking off these sort of timed earn rates for these perks. We're just going to have 4 at their base, despite that being something that I'm sure a lot of people may just be all for. But anyways, that's the perk changes here coming with Season 2. Beyond that, we have some audio updates. One that is a bit more vague in description, but is something that hopefully has a solid outcome. And why I say ambiguous and why it's kind of strange is that they didn't really specify what exactly is going to be changing here, but they stated, as noted in previous updates, one type of our audio occlusion system remained off in multiplayer periodically after launch. Occlusion still existed in multiplayer at this time, but was not the newer and more advanced system. We've spent this time testing and re-implementing that occlusion system and are happy to report that it'll be back online with the launch of Season 2. Now, for context, occlusion is how the sound will travel through various different surfaces. Not necessarily talking like just how the sound will reverberate off of different sort of corridors, whether it's concrete, wood, dirt, so on and so forth. While that is still a part of it, it's not exactly what is necessarily referenced when they talk about occlusion. That more so being like a wall in between you and a player's footsteps, multiple levels of height differential, things like maybe hillsides in the larger maps of like Al Mazrah and stuff like that. So that is something that occlusion more so is referencing the way the audio will travel, dampen, and all the effects that go into it. So while they stated here that one type of our audio occlusion system remained off, they didn't give any details on where we should be able to look. In multiplayer in particular, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a vertical-based system here, simply because there's not too many occasions where you're going to have a ton of different audio above or below where you may be. Ground war, yes. Some various levels of 6v6 MP, yes. But in those sort of smaller settings, it might not be as noticeable. But for everything to be then working properly as intended, one can hope that this then results in a positive change. Again, it's very strange that they didn't give us any specific details, and I'm hoping that's clarified here within either the blog post on the 8th or the patch notes on the 15th. But for right now, we can expect some sort of audio change here for multiplayer. Now, beyond that, the last thing that I really want to touch on here is something that is a little unconfirmed at the moment. It doesn't come from the Road to Season 2 blog post, but instead comes from a credible insider, but also is something that was previewed in seemingly some of the key art and thumbnails for Ashika Island. That being a Warzone 2 change where it's the reintroduction of redeploy balloons, but rebranded as redeploy drones. Reported by the Ghost of Hope with information coming from MW2 Intel, he states redeploy balloons from Warzone 1 will be returning in Warzone 2, reskinned and renamed as redeploy drones. Portable and stationary versions will both exist. So this is something that if you actually look at some of those thumbnail images and key art images for Ashika Island and the reveals that we ended up getting here for that, there is a drone with a long wire going from the bottom of it all the way down to the ground, which would be an indication here from this. Now, curiously, it's not something that has been listed or stated just yet, but honestly, I'm all for that. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. It might be gimmicky to a lot of people, but for the sake of pace of play, I love the redeploy balloons, portable and stationary, that we saw around Caldera, and again, a little bit within Rebirth Island and elsewhere. So that was honestly something that I thought sped up the gameplay quite a bit, made it more action-packed, and especially for what we'll see with like Resurgence right now coming up, I think it'll be a nice middle ground between over-the-top spammy movement mechanics, but also keeping that pace of play higher by allowing you to get around the map a little quicker. You're not necessarily compounding that on top of, again, slide canceling every single thing you do, but it'll at least allow you to traverse the map a little quicker. And for that, I'm interested to see if this does come to fruition. So that said, that is 3 things we didn't quite get around to talking about here within Modern Warfare 2 and the Road to Season 2 blog post and elsewhere. But with a week upcoming, revealing a lot more stuff here, perhaps even more in depth, wanted to get this out to you guys so that you had an understanding of what to look out for. But that said, that's what I call it. Before we wrap everything up though, a reminder, check out my friends over at GamerAdvantage. To me, they're the best blue light glasses company on the market. Again, this YouTube thing isn't as glamorous or like insane a lifestyle as many people try and paint it to be. I'm at my desk for 8, 9, 10 hours a day most of the days, 7 days a week, and for years on end, that absolutely starts to wear on you. So if you're somebody like me that works at a desk, looks at a monitor, looks at a TV, games a ton, GamerAdvantage is absolutely for you. They're the most comfortable, lightweight, and durable frames on the market, and their lenses are clinically proven. Full disclosure, if you were to say look at Amazon or something like that for comparable blue light glasses, they're a bit more expensive than what you'd find on Amazon, but absolutely I can say that the price differential is very much so reflective of the quality. Right now for Valentine's Day, there's a site-wide 14% off discount on some frames, and with code Espresso netting you an additional 10% off. That stacks, so you have a total of 24% off with code Espresso from now until Valentine's Day if you guys want to check anything out. But again, if you want to just even learn more, check the link in the description below. But if you'd like to pick something up, use code Espresso for the best discount of the year so far. That said, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to any of these changes? Hoping to see any changes that we didn't quite mention upcoming? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.